Season two, episode 1. Season 1 was awesome. I meant to do a best of show, and I'm not gonna lie, the end of the year, it gets away from everybody. I feel like December flew by, but sincere thank you to all of our guests that were on season 1. Eventually I will do a best of because I you need to go back and watch or listen to all of them. I sincerely appreciate all of them so much. I see we have a lot of people watching tonight. I think people are excited for Dr. Baker from Lane Veterinary. I met her a little while ago, and I said in my teaser video on Instagram, I've never heard so many people say, "Oh, I love Dr. Baker. Oh, I love her." And everybody had stories about her. And now I'm so excited to have her on and grill her a little bit about being a vet, but also, current state of the animal welfare and RSV and all of these other things, compassion fatigue, which we hear a lot about. So I'm going to get to her in a minute. I also want to thank the sponsors, and here are the presenting sponsors. Thank you so much to our presenting sponsors. Canine Cruise is the place to take your pet. They offer dog and cat boarding, dog daycare, pet retail, and mindful day school. With over 12,000 square feet of indoor space and a spacious yard, they're the one-stop shop for professional pet care in Chicago. Bark Pouch makes mess-free lickable treats for a delightful holiday time with your dog or dogs. Reward good greetings, treat calm table manners, or enjoy a quiet walk together with their easy-to-use pouch. With 5 irresistible, all human-grade recipes in 2 sizes, even picky pups find a favorite. One gentle squeeze and a quick lick of Bark Pouch treats, and you'll enjoy amazing attention even when you're wearing gloves. Kiki's Corner Natural Pet Foods in downtown Winfield, just a block south of the CVH Hospital and the railroad tracks. Kiki's has all your food and health aid needs for dogs and cats. Kiki's Corner for a healthy, happy pet. Thank you, sponsors. I am taking new sponsors, presenting and supporting. So if you're interested, please let me know, and I will send you the information for that. So please, this is awesome. We have a vet sitting right here with us. So please comment, ask questions. Literally, I can ask her on the spot as I bring in Dr. Baker right now. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, so right out of the gate, I'm gonna just ask you, like, why do you think, like, what do you offer that so many people love you so much? I mean, it started kind of with our friend Stephanie, who was like, "Oh, I love her," but I know that you were a vet for a while in the city, and a lot of my friends lived in that area. But why do you think people love you so much?
I don't know. That's so sweet. You were like getting me a little bit teary-eyed just saying that because it's so nice to hear. I think it's just, I love what I do, and I truly love getting to know the people part of it too. I mean, obviously I went into veterinary medicine for a reason. There's one of my little favorites right there, Canelo. And we do that because we love pets, but part of what is so special to me about my job is getting to bond with the people over something that they love so much. So I mean, I truly mean it when I get to go into an exam room with someone and get to know their family and get to be part of their family. It means a lot to me. So it's so nice to hear that that's what everybody says.
I think too, it is hard to find a vet where you can, like, a lot of people want a personal relationship with them. And I don't mean like personal, like you're going to go out and have dinner and drinks, but like where you can call or text or feel the love and feel like you care as much about their animal as them. Is that kind of like how you were brought up? Like, what would you say? Like, where does it come from?
Yeah, probably. I mean, it's like, and still is a huge animal lover. It's sort of funny in our house. My dad, and it's probably like this in my house that I have now too with my husband. My dad wasn't necessarily the one, but he, we had to win him over and brought animals into the house all the time. I mean, even when I was little, we were a dog family, and I just begged them to get a cat, and they finally let me do it. And that's probably a piece of it. She was a nurse and a social worker, and she is a very empathetic person. And I think that kind of spilled into doing this when I graduated college. I didn't think I wanted to go into veterinary medicine. I thought I would just go to medical school and do that. And I got a job at a humane society answering the phone in between one of my years in college, and it just changed everything for me.
That was literally my next question is how did you get into this? Because I feel like kids when they're young, really are like, I want to help animals, I want to be a vet. But then you kind of took a left turn. I mean, going from kind of the medical field and humans, and then having that springboard of a humane society. Was it difficult, or was it kind of like natural for you to do that?
Probably my parents would have seen it sooner than me, that it made more sense that I'd be going into veterinary medicine. I think just where I was from, sort of everybody went to medical school. That's what you did if you were into science and math and things like that. So it probably made more sense to them. But for me, I don't know, I had to like create my own path and feel like I was doing what I wanted to do and what I created for myself. And I mean, instantly, I actually still have the cat that I got at the Humane Society. They sort of duped me into taking this like 4-week-old kitten home temporarily that is literally still my like old senior lady that we have now. And I guess I couldn't imagine it going any other direction. It certainly is hard. I mean, when you're in college, it's hard classes you have to take. It's hard to get into vet school. It's hard to get into all of those programs. But I don't know, my passion really lies with animals and helping support them and support their people.
And I mean, you really have grown the business. You have your own practice now. I think for people listening and watching, I get this question a lot, like, how did you start a nonprofit? Like, how do you take that leap from working in a vet's office and saying, okay, I'm going to now open my own practice? Because the stress related with construction, which we kind of, you took us really behind the scenes with all of that. But how did you decide, okay, this is the route I'm going to go, and really it's a commitment.
Bit of craziness that go into it. Luckily, my husband is a contractor, so from that front, I was able to do the construction relatively easily, so that piece was better. Like I was talking about my parents before, my dad is a businessman, so having a little bit of that knowledge from him too, and yeah, there it is. That's our little work of art that we put together there. I think all of that compiled sort of springboarded me into this. I came from one of the best practices, still in my opinion, in the city. They still are one of the best practices. They took me on as a new grad. They were privately owned, much like a lot of practices now. They did sell to a corporation while I was there. It was my intention to hopefully buy into the practice that I was at, but it just didn't go that way. And to be honest, it gave me amazing experience because I got to be the medical director of that practice. So I got to see how you run the business and what the numbers look like and all of the decision making from that front before actually having to do it for myself. So I got great experience that way. I think that's really what catapulted me to do it. I was there and medical director, and I wanted to make all these decisions and help support my clients and support my team and do all the things that I wanted to do. And in the end, it made me just realize that I wanted to be the final actually making those decisions instead of those decisions getting carried down when you're in corporate medicine.
Yeah, which we hear a lot about that now, especially I mean, I do, you get all of these like smaller practices kind of being bought up by these bigger corporations, and
Yeah.
you lose something. I mean, you really lose a lot actually. And we've had to like change things around with Live Like Roof Foundation just because we lost, things that we loved about it. And, they take away a percentage from what we were getting discounted, and we're giving so much to these corporations, what it ends up being, and it ends up being sad. So kudos to you. So I first want to we'll ask, what is the most rewarding part so far? Because I know this is still, it's still new. But what has been the most rewarding?
I think for me, the rewarding part is actually seeing the vision come to light with the team. Like the team that I have at Lane Veterinary could not be better. I mean, everyone is so committed to the same thing. I think we all care so much about animals and practicing fear-free and supporting our clients and keeping a really calm, welcoming, warm environment, which is great culturally for the team, but it helps support our clients the way that we want to support them. And I got so lucky with the people that I found that are there supporting me and helping me. I literally couldn't do it without them. So that has been the most rewarding part for me, because I do think I think if you popped any one of them on right now too, they would say the same thing. Like, it's just such a great team environment that we have. Everybody supports each other. We're all on the same playing field doing the same thing that we love.
Yeah, and I do want to get into fear free in just a second, but now what has been the most challenging part? And I don't want to say like difficult, but like you probably have some challenges too as well.
Yeah, I would say, I mean, navigating that piece of it too is like staffing. Staffing is hard. I think anybody would say that in any industry right now. It's hard to find the right people and a good fit for your practice. So while we do have this amazing team and this amazing support system, that has been hard work to put together. That's been a challenge to make sure that we have all the right pieces there.
Yeah, I mean, it's so true. You're only as good as the people around you. I say that about Live Like Root all the time. It's so important to have an incredible staff and for us like a board where I can bounce ideas off. And you want them, even though you own it or you're the founder, like you want them to like buy in and you want them to feel like they're part of it. And I feel that like it sometimes can be difficult. So I wanted to get into fear free. I'm fear free certified too for my pet care business. And it really is important. And I've had to unfortunately like decline some clients that aren't fear free or won't listen to what I want to do. And I'm sure that you face that too. But for those of you that don't know what fear free is, do you want to, Dr. Baker, just describe exactly like what for a vet practice, what does that mean?
Yeah, I think it's huge, and that's awesome that you have that fear-free certification too. So there's kind of different levels of it. You can be a fear-free professional, like you're a fear-free professional. There are many veterinarians or veterinary nurses, groomers, trainers that become fear-free certified. For us, it was sort of taking it the next level and getting the whole practice fear-free certified. So the entire practice has a fear-free certification that we had to go through. We passed. We were so excited when we did. It means every single person inside there is fear-free certified, because what can be challenging, kind of like what you're describing, is if you have a fear-free certified professional or a handful of them in the practice, that doesn't mean everybody's practicing the same way. And I think that can get a little tricky. So having that overarching practice certification was huge for me starting it. It was I did all the documentation as much as I could, even before the doors were open, to make sure that I could get that stamp of approval as soon as I could, because it just makes a huge difference from start to finish, that everybody's on the same team. To your point, all the clients agree with it too. For us, it's even the design of that picture you just saw in the lobby. Like, my lobby was designed intentionally small because that's a very stressful place, and you don't see any seating in there either, minimal. It's a very stressful place for anybody to come, dog, cat, to see a strange animal. So we bring people directly into an exam room and do the check-in and check-out process there. So there really shouldn't be any of that sort of social exposure for anybody, because that is a piece of it. I mean, I'm sure many of you listening right now can imagine sitting in that lobby and there's pets all over, and most of them are just because they're at the vet. And so just reducing that is a huge piece for us. And that's, Fear Free is so supportive of those things and helping from top to bottom, from the handling, from communication, from the farewells, the treats, everything we do.
I mean, what a great point. I mean, I never even thought of that because, and yeah, Krista agrees, so smart. I mean, when we bring our dog Steve to the vet, we have to call ahead and be like, "Can you open the back door?" Like he can't be around
Right.
the dogs. But like
Yeah.
when you're just bringing them straight in, I mean, genius. Yeah. So in pet care, it's similar. Like I dog sat a dog, a Chihuahua that does not want to be touched for a week, and I never touched him. Like he would sit in my lap, and I didn't touch it. Like I never once put my hands on him, and people were like, "How did you do that?" I'm like, "I don't know. I love Chihuahuas. Like I wanted to touch him." But part of our training is the dog, the animal is going to come to you, and you are not going to, we all know overhand is not the way to approach, but you're not going to go like press them into angst or anger or nervousness. So the training is intense. I mean, and you have to pay attention and you have to pass a course. So people that have that certification, it's legit. And to me, it's so important for a dog owner, or a pet owner, I should say, to know, like, I am not going to make your pet uncomfortable. And, for pet owners, like, they love that. Like they want that. Some don't care that I'm fear-free, but there's clients that seek me out because of that. And same with your, yeah,
Yeah, and you have to keep up with it too. You don't just get Fear Free certified 1 year and then it's all done. I mean, you have to keep up on it.
yeah, and it really is important. So speaking of that, I did want to ask you too, because I think some people just see the surface. Okay, I go and I do this appointment, I do the paperwork, but like you really have to keep up with not just vet knowledge and medical knowledge, but technology. Like, do you have the best stuff? Can you keep up with new software and that kind of thing? So how much of your job is actually that part?
Yeah, I mean that there was a change recently too, even just from our medical record software, and there are a million out there that you can pick from. But all of that went to the cloud, so now all of it's cloud-based. We also, luckily, on our team have an amazing tech support person. So if anybody's looking for someone like that, honestly, send me a message. I would love to connect you to him because he's truly part of our team to help me keep up with that. Because that piece of it, to your point, is huge. I mean, there's so much technology that goes into it that some of that is truly outside of my knowledge too. Like for me, I think that can go both ways, right? There's that piece of technology, but then there's the piece of the veterinary medicine side of things with the equipment and all of that and the upkeep and the things that we want to provide to our patients, because where we are and the way we practice is truly gold standard care and the highest level of care you possibly could receive. It's the equivalent of what you would receive at a human hospital, depending on what procedure or thing that we're doing. So I think from the two different directions, that front for me is even more important, because it really, for us at Maine Veterinary, I do feel sets us apart in the suburbs, how we practice and the care we provide to people. And I think that that's sometimes challenging to see as a client what the difference is if you're just coming in and coming out and not getting to know the true difference of all the things that we put into it in the background.
Yeah, really great point too about the suburbs, because I think, and I'm not taking away anything from anybody, but we have a lot of mom and pop shops around here where, I had to euthanize a chihuahua that we had kind of quick.
Right?
Yeah. We'll never go back there. I'm not going to name any names, but it really does say a lot, about you and the time that you took to figure it out and figure out what was right. Well, I have you. Just can you chat about RSVP, since it is or RSV, since it is so prevalent right now? And I know, like, if you're listening to this a few weeks from now, it might not be as relevant. But what should pet parents know? What should they worry about? What happened with me is I got a bunch of new clients who didn't want to board their dogs over the holidays and wanted me to stay at their house.
Yeah.
But where are we? What should people worry about? What should they not worry about? Again, I know there's still some unknown, but you're an expert on it, I'm sure.
Yeah, I would say, I think right now, certainly a lot of pets were boarded. So will we see an uptick? Probably. Do we normally this time of year anyway? Yes. It's just a time that we see that. I mean, all year round, we're going to see respiratory cases. I think what got picked up recently isn't necessarily as severe, at least in Illinois, from some of the other states and what they're seeing. Like those of us that are elder veterinarians, I guess, and weathered the storm in 2015 when the flu outbreak came, that was large. We were seeing coughing cases all day long. The ERs were overrun. The oxygen cages, we didn't have enough when that first hit, and pets were getting very, very sick. This is not that. I think we probably did have some cases of it in the summertime. We were sort of talking about it just in the hospital. There are cases, and even I have it right now, like we just couldn't get them to stop coughing. They just kept coughing and coughing, and it was an extended course from what we normally anticipate. But I would say from the scale of severity of disease, at least they were getting really, really sick. It's just whatever this is that we're seeing right now. Most of our swabs are coming up negative. We don't have a name for it yet, but they certainly are persisting. It is lasting a little bit longer. So if you have a pet that is maybe already prone to respiratory illness, some of the brachycephalics or the smush-faced dogs, or you already know you have a dog that has some bronchitis or issues like that, then I would caution you to avoid those kind of areas right now, because the cough is just really sticking around. The respiratory illness it's lingering.
Yeah, it's so sad. So 2015 is when I got Rue, and he had to stay in isolation. I mean, he couldn't come
It,
to our house. It was crazy. And you couldn't find I couldn't find a vet. Like I had to go to like
no,
Elk Grove and again like a mom and pop shop where he literally sat in a room and
I
got
bet.
yeah.
Yeah.
It
It was
was
wild back then. They were so sick, but that was so novel. I mean, that was truly a new strain of the flu. Like we had H3N8 for so long. Everything was swabbing negative. They were so sick, pneumonias, hospitalized, isolation, all of that until finally months into it, they realized we had the new strain and then they created a vaccine and things started to get better. But it was back then, that was tough. That was tough. So
yeah,
this, for me, at least being a vet back then versus now,
not near,
it's
yeah.
yeah, it's not as severe as it was then.
So I'm sure you get this question a lot, but I want to ask you because I know my listeners will want to hear how do you stay strong through euthanasia and like delivering bad news, and then we'll get to compassion fatigue next. But how do you do that? Like I mean I'm like getting teary like
I
asking
know.
this question, but like how do you do that, especially with clients that you've had for so many years? How do you do it?
Probably don't stay strong. I mean, I probably don't because I really do put myself in their shoes. I mean, it as much as that news hurts to be delivered to the person on the other end of the phone, I mean, it's hard for me to have that conversation too because these are our babies. I mean, they mean so much to us. I know we go into it knowing that they're not going to be here forever, but it feels like they should. So I mean, obviously I've had to have that conversation many times, I think with the longer you get into your career too, the people you know better, the longer you've had them around, it is hard. I can't say that I stay strong every time, but I've said to people before too, if you don't want a veterinarian that's going to get teary-eyed or choked up over these situations, then maybe I'm not your vet because I care that much about the person and the pet. I think the bigger piece of it is, maybe you have a puppy next door and you do have to like kind of have that whiplash of, okay, I just had that conversation. You sort of have to collect yourself and then move on and be super excited because you are super excited. I think the bigger piece of it is like that big emotional roller coaster that you have literally every day ever.
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine that, like, going from one room to another, and, you don't wanna be late, you don't wanna
No,
it's
yeah.
so hard. So I had a senior dog doctor on a few weeks ago who was amazing, Monica, and, we were talking about compassion fatigue and, like, how do you get away from it? Because especially you, I mean, you own the practice, so, even if you take some time off or you leave early, it's really hard, and what she said is like make time to get away, like make time to go away on vacation and like shut off and shut down. Are you similar? Like, can you kind of? And I know because you're like married to it. I mean, it's your, and I feel that too with Live Like Crew. It's so hard to even step away for one day. But what do you do? Because we hear about the suicide rates in veterinarians, and it's scary. It really is. So what do you do?
I think for me, it's my support system. Like I have an awesome, loving husband and two human children now too that very supportive and allow me the time and the space and the things that we need to do. I think to your point, it's almost impossible to step away when it really is yours, when you're the business owner, when it's yours. I mean, even when you do go on vacation, there's still going to be something that comes up and somebody that needs you or some conversation that needs to be had. So for me, it's like really the day-to-day of the recovery from those kind of things and having a team. I would say the team that I have at Lane and my family team that I have at home too. I mean, I love exercise. I used to be able to do it a lot more before I had this, but I still make it a point that I try to go once or twice a week and the phone is not there. There's, I can focus in on that. It's a thing that like, brings me calm and I get a little space. I think the lucky part of it again though is I really do love what I do. So as much as that compassion fatigue does come in, it brings me joy to be able to help people the way that I get to. So it makes it a little bit easier.
You also have some four-legged friends, which I wanted to
Oh
show.
my gosh, look how cute they are. Yeah.
Who are we looking at?
So Vita is the Mastiff. She is Antigua, and she's the literal best dog that ever walked the earth. Bluey, we got from CACC. All of these are foster fails, actually. And he was from Players for Pits. Vita was from Determined to Rise. Greta is in the middle. She is actually from a lovely client that I had in my last practice who was fostering her. And then I took her, and then Grace there on the end, that's the one I was telling you about. She was the very first one. So she is 16 and a half years old now. Looks a little bit grayer in the face than she does in that picture.
I mean, what a crew, and they all get along.
They do. Yeah, they do all get along. It's because Grace, she's like a spunky old lady that just keeps everybody in line.
I love that. I love it so much. So yeah, I want to mention last Easter we had a little, basically what was your open house.
Yeah.
It was insane. I mean, there were people everywhere. There were kids everywhere. There were dogs everywhere. It was awesome. We're going to do it again
So
this
much fun.
year. Yeah. Is the date March 24th? Sorry, I should have had that.
Yes, March 24th.
Yeah, March 24th. It'll be at Lane Vet in Hinsdale. If you've not been there, you can come out. We have a caricaturist, and we obviously will have the Easter Bunny. So we will have ticket link online soon, but you just need a ticket for photos. You can just come by. Otherwise, we'll have some vendors there. We'll have Live Like Rue merch. Who knows what else? I mean, we're gonna have fun. That's what we know. We had so much fun. I mean, I don't know how many pictures they ended up taking, but like it was crazy the whole time. It was awesome.
It was amazing. There were so many people in there. It was so much fun. It was tiring at the end of it because there were so many people, but the turnout was awesome. I hope it's even bigger this year.
And I know people were so excited to meet you and see you. A mutual friend, Lauren, who was looking for a new vet that had moved to the burbs and then, lost his sweet Miguel, who I helped to rescue. Now has a new dog. So it was great. Like, and people love when Live Like Rue comes to the burbs. We love to go to the burbs because we have so many supporters there, and a lot of the events we do are in the city. So I love this event. I feel like it's going to be an annual event for us, and thank you for having us.
Excited.
Yes. Dr. Baker, everybody, please go follow her on Instagram. I really do love your Instagram and all your little, people love behind the scenes stuff. Like your behind the scenes stuff and even like the funny stuff is so great. It's light, which you need sometimes as a veterinarian. Anything else that you want to promote?
Really, it was the photos with the Easter Bunny that are coming up. We're so excited about it. We just talked to the marketing team about it actually earlier today. That's the big thing. That's it's going to be our anniversary party now that it was our open house last year, and we're super excited to see her be out again.
Yeah, and I love Easter because it's like, even though it's so early, it's weird how early it is. It's like spring is coming soon. There's like some hope, and flowers and everything are blooming. Thank you, Dr. Baker. I really appreciate you being on. You're awesome. And please, everybody, go follow her, support her. If you need a vet in the burbs, do it.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Of course. Take care. Sarah Baker, everybody. Dr. Baker. I can call her Sarah. I'm Sarah, but I call her Dr. Baker because I feel like that's how it should be. Supporting sponsors, you're up. Thank you so much to the following supporting sponsors. This holiday season, give the gift of joy and memorable moments of furry loved ones with a gift card for Kimberly Kingen Photography. With every gift card purchased through the end of December, we'll give $25 back to Live Like Rue Foundation, helping to spread cheer and make a positive impact with every thoughtful gesture and gift. For more details, visit Kimberly's website at KimberlyKingen.com or contact her directly via Kimberly at KimberlyKingen.com. That's KimberlyKimberly at KimberlyKingen.com. The Canine PT is Chicago's highest rated dog physical therapy clinic, and we're dedicated to enhancing the lives of your four-legged companions as they age or when recovering from an injury. Give the gift of pain relief and extended mobility to your furry friends this holiday season. We also offer a discount for rescue dogs. For more information, visit the Canine PT. That's THEK9, PT.com.
Liz Starks at Guaranteed Rate. Check with Liz for the absolute best mortgage options. She helps when others can't and even calls it rescue loans.
Anything is Plausible is Chicago's premier dog training company. They offer group classes for every stage of your dog's life and have a talented team of behavior specialists to work through any issues that need modification using positive reinforcement. Thank you, supporting sponsors. Next week, Mutts of the Midway, Ashley and Jamie. These chicks do amazing work south side of Chicago and beyond. I've fostered for them a few times. They recently had a baby. We have a lot to catch up on. Mostly it'll be about the rescue, but also how do you run a rescue with a newborn, I think is a great question for them. They'll be a great guest. They've been Live Like Ruth supporters since pretty much the beginning, and I now support them. So I'm excited to have them on. Thank you, everybody, for listening, for watching. I really appreciate it. I'll see you next week.